All right. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Chakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who were well and who is worthy to be counted for double honors. Peace and salutations to you brothers out there pushing the truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and for love of the gospel. Still brother Gabaria from the Indiana camp coming back at you again with another sit down. In this entitlement, I'm gonna continue the series etymology of words. The word today I have is optimism. Okay. I was rereading the definition, but yeah, optimism. Now the every time I heard this word, I always thought of like, those people think always the good's gonna come out and everything. But when I actually went into it, the etymology of the word, and was reading the definition, I was like, well, damn, in a sense, we're optimistic, so because when you go into the word, I'm gonna read the definition and then I'm gonna hit a couple scriptures and close it out. But the word, it says to mean the greatest good. It says the best. It says see optimum. It says the doctrine holds the actual word is the best of all possible worlds, in which the creator accomplished the most good of the cost of the least evil. And you go down a little bit. It says a general sense of belief that good ultimately will prevail in the world. See? It says a tendency to take a hopeful view of things, So if you think about it, when we come out and we preach the scriptures and everything that's going to happen upon us, we're actually being optimistic, that we completely hope and have faith that what good will prevail over the entire world, Now, our good and the world's good are totally two different goods. See, the world thinks, everybody living in peace, harmony, tranquility, everybody living as one people, The world makes you think how we living now is good. But see, our optimistic thinking is pessimistic for other people. See, so pessimistic is basically the opposite word of optimistic, which means if optimistic means you believe the good outcome is going to always come, or you hoping or you're trusting that whatever outcome that you go through or whatever outcome that you see is going to go out in a good thing. Pessimistic is the opposite of that. Saying, you always think that things are going to be, things are going to go out the bad outcome, or you think nope, we're gonna lose. You're going in with a negative mindset, so to speak. So you're thinking that if you get, like, let's say you're going for a job or you're trying to get a job. And you'd be like, they ain't gonna hire me. I got this, I got that. You're being a pessimistic thinker, which means you're thinking on the negative. Which this world, they're more optimistic. They think more on the positive. They all think more on the positive. Speak good into your world and stuff like that. But as I'm now, when I looked at this word, I'm like, well, really, to be honest, if you think about it, we're more optimists than anything. Because we're hoping and we're praying and we see the future outcome and we see that it's going to be good. Or as it says the doctrine holds that the actual world is the best in all possible worlds, which in the creator accomplishes the most good and the cost of a less evil, So it says what, man? Hey, matter of fact, let me look up this word they say it comes from, it derives from. It says power, resources, riches, the most esteemed. It says opt, which means to work or produce abundance. It says, or perhaps in a real of ob, in front of, It says in English, the word used originally in biology in reference to conditions of most favorable, Now, when we read, by us being prudent men, when we read the scriptures and we see who has the more favorable outcome, the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, they're the ones when we go out and see certain things, we see that what the Lord is. I mean, when we read the scriptures and we see, guess what? The Lord seems like he's gonna have favor on his elect. See, that's being having an optimistic mindset, Believing that your works, the things that you're doing for Yahweh Shem Yahshua is going to pay off. You know, it's going to pay off eventually. You know, you trusting in the Lord, you doing these works are all going to pay off. You know, you're going to be favorable, you know, in the eyes of the Lord. All right. And these are all things that we hope for. These are all things that we have faith in, that we trust. You know, my last video I just did, well, it was about trust, you know, trusting in the Lord, you know, even when that time hits us, even when things go south and times get really, really rough and really, really hard, you know, we have to still have a positive mindset, thinking that, the Lord's going to redeem us out of this, you know. Hey, what did Korah, Abarath, and Dathan, what did they, was it Korah? No. It was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's who it was. I was confusing. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what did they say to the king of Babylon? They said, Lord, listen, we're not going to serve, your gods, you know. And he thought he wanted to throw him in the furnace. And he said, listen, the Lord's going to deliver us out of that, you know. So they had an optimistic mindset. They knew and trust that the Lord was going to have their back, you know. And then they hit him with in my opinion, is one of the coldest lines in the scriptures, where it says, and even if he don't, we still not going to do it, you know, because we trust in the Lord, because ultimately they had trust and faith in the Lord that was going to redeem them out of that situation, whether it was by death, you know. But they chose to lay down their lives to keep their trust maintained in the Lord, you know. And what did Job say? What? Though the Lord slay me, though my trust will remain in him. You know, that's being an optimal mindset, because you're having faith and you're trusting that the Lord is going to make your outcome better, you know, or more favorable. So let me grab this right quick. Corinthians or Hebrews? We have a hope. I hope that's it's Romans. Romans 8 chapter 8 verse 21. It says, "For we are saved by hope." See, by hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? You know. So what we have hope and faith. And what does Hebrews 11:1 says what? Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. See? So hope, faith, trust, all those things are not tangible things that you can just grab and hold on to. No, those are things that's not going to be seen. All right. That's a mindset. All right. You're hoping, you're trusting, you're having faith in the Lord to make what? Your end outcome more favorable, you know, being optimistic, you know, and for a long time, I always didn't like the word optimistic, because I'm always thinking like, oh yeah, these people always think things gonna go their way, or, you know, speaking, you know, positivity in the world, thinking that's going to be enough. But really, to be honest, if you now that I actually go and look up the word and go into it, now my eyes are open. Like, we're really, to be honest, us men in the truth, we're optimistic. You know, we're hoping, we're praying, and we're looking for a better next world. You know, when Yahweh Shem Yahshua comes back and completely eradicates this place, we trust in that. You know, when we read it and we bring it out on the street corners, we trust in these videos, we hoping for that. That's things that we're looking forward to, you know? And with that mindset, that's an optimistic mindset, you know? But like I said, what's optimistic for some people are pessimistic for others, you know? See, we're talking about the destruction of this place. See, with that mindset, people are looking, oh, that's pessimistic. You're looking at the bad, the outcome of anything. Like, well, no, the bad outcome for this place is a good outcome for us, you know? So, let me see, do I got anything else on this word? Let me go back to our optimistic, optimum, singular, op. Yep. It says, yeah, going to work or produce in abundance. And let me see. The modern Latin optimum, Using meaning to mean the greatest good, Yep, the greatest good, the best. All right. And don't the world need the greatest good? Because obviously for the past couple thousand years, it hasn't been ruled in the greatest good, you know. Scripture says what? The Lord is gonna put one that is more profitable, which shows you that the person that's ruling right now isn't profitable to the world right now, you know. In due time, the Lord's gonna put one that is profitable, you know. Because the guy who's ruling right now, he isn't profitable. He's destroying the earth. The scripture says what? See how the world shall get weaker through age. That's because why? The people that's ruling it is not taking care of it. When something gets weaker, then what? You're not taking care of it. You're not maintaining it, you know? So that's all I had on the word, Yep. So until the next installment, shalom.